Hello, Sharon. How are you today?
I am fantastic, Devin. How are you?
I am so blessed to be here with you, and this is an amazing experience for me because to me, Sharon, you are an example of what a powerful person looks like, not because of what you've done, but because of what you enable other people to do through your work and all of your books. And it's so funny, Sharon. I see all my friends posting pictures of Outwitting the Devil and all of these other books. And on almost all of them, I see the name Sharon Lechter. So it's amazing, Sharon. But I really want to ask you, as you are a financial literacy expert, literally an expert working with two US presidents and all over the world, traveling, speaking on it, I first and foremost want to know what piqued your interest and what made you passionate enough about financial literacy that you said, I have to go out and teach this to everybody in the world?
Well, there's a couple of different answers to that go together. And the first one is I grew up in a very entrepreneurial home. We lived in a small house between my dad's used car lot, my mom's beauty shop, and we had rental properties. I had to go scrub out between tenants, scrub out the bathrooms at the age of 10. And so I understood the value of assets, which happens to be my favorite word on earth, assets. And I didn't realize everybody did not have that understanding until I got out into the real world and started my career in public accounting, which gave me tremendous experience on how companies build correctly and probably more importantly, how they don't build correctly. And so throughout my career, I realized people were chasing dollars, exchanging time for money instead of investing their time to build, buy, and create income producing assets. And so that has been my message and what I've been teaching my entire career. But it was 1992 when our oldest son went off to college. He left in September, came home in December in credit card debt. I was pretty mad at him, but I was more mad at myself. I thought I had taught him about money. And he got to the campus and there were these tables, free t-shirt, free money, free pizza, free money. And so he had a really good time his first semester in college. But that was December of 92. And that's when I dedicated the rest of my career to financial education, financial literacy, and entrepreneurship education. And I'm as passionate about it today as I was back then. It's really criminal that we're not teaching our children about money in school. If we want to level a playing field for every child, no matter who they are, what their background is, we need to give them financial education in school. That will allow them to create the life they deserve.
I'm going to come back to that in a second, Sharon, because that's so powerful what you just said about teaching financial literacy from a young age. And I can't wait to learn from you about what you're going to have to say about it. But you said one thing that I've been hearing from the world's most successful people repeatedly. And that is that the world's most successful people, not just in terms of dollars, they don't trade time for money. And it's mind-blowing to me because that's the way that I always thought about it. My question for you, though, is how can we use money to buy back our time?
Well, you do that by buying, building, creating assets that create income. And so when you do that, you get your time back because they become your employees. They become the assets that are working for you 24/7 so that you get your time back. That's how you do it.
Okay, so let's jump into this a little bit. I'm curious if you're shaping and you're guiding a young kid, let's say 16, 17, maybe even up to 25 years old, and they come up to you, Sharon, and they say, Sharon, provide me with a quick game plan, maybe 2 to 3 things that I should do in order to begin creating wealth right here, right now. What would you say?
Well, the most successful businesses solve problems and serve needs. So I would have that child determine what their passion is and what's a problem out there or need that you can serve. And then spend some time learning the industry, which may mean getting the education and working as an employee in the industry to understand the industry best. So I'm not against the world. We need employees. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. It's not what you do for your paycheck that determines your destiny. It's what you do with your paycheck. And so with every dollar you get, you can choose to spend it and make it go away, or you can choose to invest it. And so while you're working for a salary, let that salary be working for you by reinvesting it in assets that generate income. So it will be multiplier.
What are some of your favorite assets, Sharon?
Well, assets include businesses. It includes paper assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, includes real estate, where you buy a piece of property that the renter is paying you enough rent to cover all your expenses and you get a profit every month. And then intellectual property, it's what you know between your brain. Take what you know and create an asset from it, a book, a program,
Mm.
an invention. And that's something that can turn into incredibly um, income generator for you that can make a lot of people independently wealthy because you take the time to take what you know and share it with others.
One of the things that I've been struggling with going towards that intellectual property route that you just discussed was I'm in the position where I can invest some money. So I'm looking at my landscape, thinking about my options. But what I'm thinking, and I would love to hear your take on it, is why would I, at this point in my life, I'm 23 years old, invest in a stock market and real estate, et cetera, when I can invest in that intellectual property, my mind, and get a coach, a mentor who can accelerate the time in which it takes for me to get from here, where I am, to where I want to be. So really what I'm asking is, a young person who is looking to go somewhere, would you recommend investing in a coach or a mentor that might cost tens of thousands of dollars? Or would you say it's probably better off if you put more money into an asset such as a stock, bond, mutual fund, or real estate?
Well, I know it'd be really wonderful for me to give you an answer to that, but that would be malpractice on my part because the answer is it depends on who
Mm,
you are. I strongly suggest that individuals, particularly at that age, they you don't have the depth of wisdom and experience that you do find a mentor. You can find mentors in books. They don't have to cost
yep.
you thousands of dollars. If you know exactly what you want to do, find a mentor and pay them what they're worth to help you speed your way to success. One of my greatest joys is being a mentor. I love working one-on-one with people because I know I've been where they want to go and I know how to speed their pathway there. But if you're still not quite sure what you want to do, where you want to do it, don't spend thousands of dollars
Yes.
on a coach unless they are the reason you're spending it is for them to help you determine what you want. And then continue educating yourself, continue reading, continue going to free webinars and seminars, focus on your own personal development, your personal growth. But keep a little money on the side, let it grow, start adding to it. There's no reason you cannot do both.
I love it. Thank you for. I had to ask a personal one. I hope that's okay, Sharon. So that definitely answered the question though. So what I took away from that, just so, because there's a lot of people on here that are probably in the same position as me. Which route did I pick? If you know where you want to go and what you want to do, if I hear you correctly, Sharon, there's nothing wrong with investing money into yourself so that you can work with somebody who's gone to where you've already gone or where you want to go.
No, I mean, it's very smart. It's what you want to do. I mean, the stats are in, the studies are in. People who have mentors, who invest in mentors, are more successful and make more money in the long run.
Oh, this is good. This is good, Sharon. Okay. So going back to the financial literacy piece, what do you feel like are some of the most misconstrued or the common misconceptions that you hear when it comes to financial literacy? And specifically, Sharon, as you look at people that are wealthy and people that are not wealthy, what specifically about their mindset and how they think, how are they different?
Well, if you think about growing up, what did you hear about money from your parents? Did they say money doesn't grow on trees, pinch your pennies, save for a
You
rainy
bet.
day? All of those things are negative. So you grew up hearing money negative, money negative, money negative. And that's how you develop a mindset of scarcity. And the only way to get rid of it is to recognize it and then deal with it and start changing to realize that we do live in a world of abundance and everyone has the opportunity to create success in their life. And when I wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, what the rich teach their kids that the poor and middle class do not. The reason the rich get richer and the poor get poorer is because we're not teaching the kids about money in school. So you're learning about it at home. And so take control of your child's life, your life, and give them the tools, the resources to understand money. And they realize that they can create the future they deserve. Don't rely, a lot of people that need more money get a second job or try to work overtime. That just makes you more tired. And so you want to start thinking about, how can I start a side gig? How can I start something on the side? Is there a website that you really support that you could create an affiliate relationship with to help you start generating some cash flow over and above your job that you can then redeploy and invest in other assets? There's lots of ways to make money. And you can, if you come to my website, email us, we have a plan with 31 ways to increase your income. But, I talk about the personal success equation, and it really is your passion and your talent. And that's all about you. That's what we learn in school, our experience. So for me, my passion was my anger about not teaching kids about money. My talent is years of publishing, years as a CPA. And most of us stop there. I think we have to do it on our own. But true success comes from that power of association times A, the mentors, the people on your team. Do you have people on your team who are strong where you are weak? And then times A, taking action. How many times do we know what we're supposed to do? We just don't do it. And so taking that action. And then plus F, having faith in yourself, having faith in what you're doing, having faith that you will succeed. And that personal success equation is where I start with all of my clients and wherever I speak. Personalsuccessequation.com, you can find a free guide to help you identify your own personal success equation. But when I start working with somebody, it's usually that power of association where they need the most work, and faith, that confidence in themselves. And they go hand in hand. When you have the right people around you, the right mentor, they're not going to let you have a bad day. They're going to keep your head above the water. And so having that self-confidence in yourself is so important.
Sharon, I want to go back to the personal association and the people that you have around in your life. I am very passionate about mentorship, hence why I've talked about it a couple of times already. I've seen the impact that it's had on my life. But there's someone listening to this that's saying, but I can't get into the room with people that are where I want to be, or the people that I always dreamt of meeting. I can't, how do I get in the room with them? So Sharon, how can I, or someone that's listening, begin to develop relationships with the people that we've always dreamed of meeting, but we haven't yet found a way to actually get in a room or get on a call with them?
Well, you start by showing up. If they participate in Clubhouse, be in the room, make a comment, ask questions, start commenting on their social media, Instagram, Facebook. Be present. Go to events where they're speaking so that you're showing support and contribution to them as well. And it's really important to look and see what they're interested in. Maybe there's a charity that they support and they belong to. If it's something that you agree to and your heart's there too, then get involved in the charity. So you have those common elements of ways to meet people. And, it is, people call me all the time wanting free mentoring. And there's something, you get what you pay for. We have a process to go through. You can go on my website, SharonLechter.com. There's a process that we go through with you to see if you're interested in mentoring. And then my team goes through the process of interviewing to make sure that we truly can support you going to the next step. But it's not free. And it's important for people to understand, if you're not willing to invest in yourself, how can you expect others to invest in you?
Oh, Sharon, I've been having so many mindset shifts around this lately, and I absolutely love it. It's so good when you study people like you, Sharon. Life is so much better. It really, really, really is. Okay, now you came out with a book recently, Exit Rich, which is about how to exit your business and obviously make a pretty penny doing so. I want to touch on that, but before I want to do that, I would love to hear your take and your advice and wisdom that you would give to, let's say, a coach that is just starting their business. They're looking to generate their first $1,000 to $2,000 per month. What is some advice that you would give them as they go into this new endeavor?
Well, I would certainly invite them to reach out to me, info@SharonLechter.com. We have a new coaching program that we are affiliated with. It helps people elevate their authority within the coaching industry. It helps get you that certification that helps put your head above the water. It also gives you a very cutting edge online tool to help people stay accountable as part of your program. And so first reach out to me, info@Sharon Lechter, and say you're looking for the coaching certification, and we will introduce you to that. But I think it's really important to, again, power of association. You have to prove that you know what you're doing, that you have results. And by having certifications, establishing your authority, that takes a big step in the right direction for people to be able to rely on you, to know, like, and trust you. And that's how people want to do business with people that know, like, and trust them.
Oh, you heard it here, folks. You got to get that cert from Sharon Lechter. That's no joke, Sharon. That's no joke. Okay, great. Now let's talk about the other end of the spectrum, because this whole concept of exiting is honestly something that I never learned about it in college. I took a whole lot of business courses, never took one on exiting a company. I didn't even know that was a thing. And there might be some people on here who are familiar with it, but there might be some people who aren't. So when talking about exiting rich, what are some of the fundamentals that somebody could do? They're not there yet, that they're about to exit, but what are some of the things that one can do to set themselves up to be able to exit in 2 years, 4 years, or 5 years?
So when you start your business, I want you to think about the answer A or B. A, do you start it so that you work until the day you die? That's A. Or B, are you starting it to build something profitable that can give you your time back and give you a financial foundation of success? Okay, everybody answers B. But the vast majority of people build A because they haven't taken the time to build the system the way it needs to be built. They've built themselves a job. And so with Exit Rich, it's showing you the fundamental way to build a business that can be successful, sustainable, scalable, and saleable. And we go through the 6P method. And the first one is your people. Do you have the right people on your team? Do you have the right mentor? Do you have people who are strong where you are weak? Do you have people that will help sustain the business? The second one is your products. Now, do you have a product that can be leveraged and maybe gone into different industries, different geographic regions? Can we make that one product into 5 products? So people, products, and then processes. What are your business systems? Your business systems is what makes your business scalable. And unless you have systems, you're never going to be able to grow to the level you should. And those systems are what create intellectual property. So the 4th P is proprietary, the intangible assets, your competitive advantage, the intellectual property that you've developed within the business. And that's the most valuable part of your business. And it's not on your balance sheet. It's that intangible asset value. And then the 5th one is patrons. Now, in today's world, we're all about followers on social media. People get all excited because they have Instagram followers, TikTok, but you don't own them. Okay, those are great marketing and lead generation tools, and you want to be very ever present in social media. But in order to really own and put them into the value category, you want to invite them home, give them a reason to come to your website. Build into your database. Your database is what gives you the lifetime value of a customer. It also adds the intellectual property of your business. And then the 6th one is profits. Now, profits, a lot of people say, well, my profits aren't where they should be. Well, that's because some of those other P's aren't being handled. And so we gave you the process to go through to build the foundation of your business, to build the backbone and strength of your business so that when you do want to sell, you look pretty good and it's singing along. The systems are there so somebody can come in and be impressed and give you the opportunity to do B, which is build a company that's financially successful, that gives you financial independence and your time back.
Such a different way of thinking. It is such a different way of thinking. The average person never even contemplates doing B, which is why I love speaking with you. Now, Sharon, like I said, you've been able to do things that other financial literacy experts, let's just say, have not been able to do. So, as you look at the life that you've built and what has enabled you to get to where you are, what do you feel that you have done within yourself that has enabled you to differentiate yourself and create such authority in a crowded world of financial literacy?
Well, I've never lost sight of definiteness of purpose, which is the number one thing about Think and Grow Rich and Outwitting the Devil. Definiteness of purpose. Everything I do revolves around elevating people's financial well-being. And I'm very, very guarded. I don't say yes to everything. I'm very protective about my brand and who I align with. And it's something that a lot of people are not. They just say yes to everything. And it's like I may have been able to make a whole lot more money if I said yes to everything, but then I wouldn't be who I am. And so I think it's really important that you stay true to who you are. You stand in your truth. You stand what you know. I've had a lot of people wanting me to be a spokesperson for cryptocurrency. Yes, crypto is here to stay, but that's not my expertise. That's not something that I believe that I should be a spokesperson for. Do I own crypto? Yes, but I'm staying in my lane on financial and entrepreneurial education.
And as you're in that lane, and you brought up such an interesting point about we have crypto, NFT, all of these different things. So as you're telling us about these different assets, how seriously would you advise us as we're going into more digital era and a revolution, technological revolution? Do you feel as if the common household assets that you were talking about earlier are going to continue to be as relevant as they as they are now? Or do you think that the world of crypto and NFT will maybe even supersede what is currently known as an asset?
Well, that crystal ball has yet to be found.
Of course.
So I think there will always be real estate. People always have need a place to live. There will always be businesses to start. Some of those businesses may have to do with crypto. All right. So all intellectual property, they're not ever going to disappear. And that's, Warren Buffett talks about he doesn't invest in something he doesn't understand. And so the issue is not to, the basis of your question leaves something out, and that is, what do you know about, what are you interested in, and what are you willing to invest your time and energy to get to become an expert in? And that's what you should be focused on, rather than trying to run after every shiny object.
And how does one, regardless of crypto or asset or not, you are an expert, and I aspire to be an expert in what it is that I do, speaking and communicating. That's why I have a mentor who's a speaker and a communicator. How does one become not just really good, but how does one become an expert, Sharon? How can I, and anyone that's listening, what can we start doing now that one day we can look back and say, I'm an expert in this field?
Well, you determine who you are, what you stand for. You become the best at what you do. You look for those associations that elevate your standing in the industry. You work hard to maintain that credibility, and you always are true to the what is the right thing to do. You don't cut any corners, and you want to make sure that you are always asking for feedback. You have the right people on your team. Today I'm still considered one of the top speakers in the world, and first woman in the Personal Development Hall of Fame. I get off stage, I still ask my team, okay, how'd I do? What do I need to change? Always seek to learn, always seek to improve, sharpen the sword.
And as you look at the people that you've associated with, always sharpen the sword. That just hit me, Sharon. But as you look at the people that you've associated yourself with, who would you identify have been 1 to 2 people who have made the biggest impact on you?
Well, there are too many for me to identify, and each industry, there are different areas that impact me greatly. Don Green, the CEO of the Napoleon Hill Foundation, has had a huge impact on my life. He brought me in to do 3 Feet from Gold, and we've done 4 books together. We are very aligned, deep friendship, and he knows that I am 100% behind the foundation. I would never do anything that would cast a pallor over the foundation. And so he knows there's a high level of trust and knowledge. I have dear friendships in the industry. Rita Davenport, who was one of the founders of the National Speakers Association, where it took Arbonne to $1 billion, almost $1 billion in sales, is a dear, dear personal friend of mine. Mark Victor Hansen has done the foreword for many of my books. He's one of the co-creators of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Obviously, we every step along the way, the man who created the Talking Children's book, who I helped take around the world, who's now gone on to a higher plane, was a huge imprint on me. Learned a lot with him, Zeb Billings. So we every time you meet someone, they have something that they can share. They don't have to be a celebrity. It can be that depth of knowledge. I have many, many friends who are billionaires, and you don't find them on social media. You don't find them trying to get into the limelight, because they're businessmen and women, and they're out there doing good. So it's about, you just have to determine what you want out of life. And do you want to be the person that spends all the money to get 1 million followers on Instagram when they're not real? Or do you want the person to be the person that can say that every person in my Instagram feed is an organic ad, and you haven't paid money to get them? Okay, those are things that are kind of basic, but at the same time, some people have reasons to do the other, and that's okay. I don't judge them. It's just not for me. And so you have to make the determination of who you are, and are you willing not to try to compete with others who don't feel in the same arena that you are.
Now, when you say identify and learn who you are, the thing I find so often is that, as you keep alluding to, is that most people kind of don't. Most people don't really understand who they are. What can one begin to do to begin to understand who they are, what their calling is, what they were put on this earth to do? Where do we
Download
begin?
my personal success equation. Go to personalsuccessequation.com. I take you through the process of understanding your passions, your talents, associations, actions. I will help guide you in taking the step to determine what you're on this earth to do.
Perfect. I got to go pick that up, Sharon. Now, you, as you mentioned, you're working with Don Green and the Napoleon Hill Foundation. I want to know, how the heck did this even come together, where you're writing Think and Grow Rich for Women and Outwitting the Devil and 3 Feet from Gold? How did this transpire?
Well, I made the decision to leave the Rich Dad organization after 10 years as a partner and CEO. And that was 2007. And in 2008, we know what was happening to the economy. And Don Green found out that I had left Rich Dad, and he called me and asked me to step in to help reinvigorate, revitalize the teachings of Napoleon Hill. It was one of the most important phone calls of my life. And it was in March of 2008. So I stepped into the project 3 Feet from Gold with Greg Reed, my co-author. And that was the beginning of an incredible relationship. When we released 3 Feet from Gold, was the month that Don sent me a manuscript called Outwitting the Devil that had been locked away for 73 years. I was only the 4th or 5th person to see it. It was typed by Napoleon Hill himself on a manual typewriter with his handwritten notes on the margins. It was incredible. And I ran away to San Diego, where I do most of my writing. And within a few hours, I was just overcome by this book. And I said, we have to get it out. And it talks about how that F I talked about, faith in the personal success equation, how most people, that F is actually fear, and it holds you back. It prevents you from creating the success you deserve. It can be the fear of poverty. It can be the fear of criticism, fear of old age, fear of loss of love. It goes into all kinds of different fears. And then he takes on every taboo of our time. All right, sex, politics, religion, education, alcohol, cigarettes. And that was even before the world knew cigarettes were bad for you. And I just loved the entire concept of the book. He talks about the concept of drifting, how people don't have control over their own mind. They go with the flow. They go, whatever. They're like lemmings. And he talks about only 2% of the population are non-drifters. These concepts are so blatantly obvious, and yet not addressed until we had this book, Outwitting the Devil. And it is a mind-blowing, life-changing book that I'm very, very proud to have been able to bring out to the world. And when we released that was when Dawn and I talked about doing Think and Grow Rich for women, because the original book was released, was written and released during a time when only men were in business. And so we wanted to look at the same principles through the eyes of successful women. And I have over 300 women in the book. So it was an incredible project that I loved.
What do you think it was about you that Don Green said, I have to reach out to Sharon rather than anybody else to get on this team to bring this work out into the world?
Well, he knew that I was a huge fan. I read Think and Grow Rich when I was 19. We knew each other from various book fairs. We had a tremendous amount of respect for each other and trust. And he knew that the 3 Feet from Gold project needed somebody who could write from the heart. Other than that, I guess you probably have to ask him. So.
But it's amazing. You went from co-authoring Rich Dad, Poor Dad to all of these amazing books, which Outwitting the Devil, seeing those manuscripts, oh my goodness, that is incredible. I think I heard you mention that before. My jaw almost touched my floor mat as I was driving. I said, oh my goodness, I couldn't even imagine that. But I have to ask, Napoleon Hill has so many books. What is your very favorite? Is it Think and Grow Rich?
It's Outwitting the Devil.
It's Outwitting the Devil. Ooh. Oh, there's so many. I read them all too, Sharon. I'm like, which one's my favorite? I don't know. Okay. But regardless, I want to touch a little bit more on understanding how you operate, Sharon. So how important is it for you to have singularity of purpose? Like you said earlier, you say no to a lot of things. I just got done reading another book called Free to Focus by Michael Hyatt. I'm not sure if you've heard of that one, but it talked a lot about that, is saying no to things. And my question for you is, in that process of you learning how to say no, how have you been able to savor relationships and maybe not be afraid to hurt a relationship because you know that doesn't align with what your calling is?
Well, typically for me, I mean, honesty is the best policy. And I have a lot of people who want me to write forwards for their books and write endorsements. And I don't do those unless I've actually read the book, which means I don't have a lot of time on my hand because I don't have time to read all the books for the requests we get. So we have to say no to a lot of people. But I think it's also important to understand that you out of respect and grace. And there are times when someone will ask me to do something and it's not consistent with my brand, certainly not consistent with the Napoleon Hill brand. And we tell them, we appreciate it. We wish you well, but this isn't consistent with my messaging. It's not consistent with what I stand for. And I'm on several government commissions. And so I am not only want to be careful of my brand, I want to cherish and respect the positions that I'm in and make sure I don't do anything to question those.
I love it. It's all going back to knowing what you do, what you're a part of, and being committed to those. So I really want to know, I gotta be a little selfish again, but I'm being selfish because I know others want to know about this, Sharon. What are some of the core principles that you teach when it comes to building your wealth? Is it saving 10% a month? Or what are some of the core principles that people could leave this podcast and begin doing today that would make an impact tomorrow and for years to come?
Well, the thing that just pops in my mind is a little different, but I'd like to just say, make a decision to do what's right and not what's just going to make you money. Too many people chase the money and don't chase what's consistent with their brand. And as nobody is to blame for your financial position but you. We are all where we are today because of the choices we made before today. If you want something different, just start making different choices today. So don't spend time worrying over what happened yesterday or the day before. Just start making different decisions. And with every single dollar you touch, you have a choice. Do you spend it and never see it again? Or do you use it and employ it for yourself?
Sharon, what do you think about building an emergency fund, a savings account? What is your take on all of that?
Well, you absolutely need to have a savings account and an emergency fund, and it needs to be higher and bigger if you have a family and children. So you have to make those determinations. Everybody's risk tolerance is different. I have a money mastery program that if people are interested in, it's on my website, but we have a special offer we can give you as well. If you want that, we can get you the link. But in it, we talk about your risk tolerance, how to measure your risk tolerance. And some people have higher ones than others, and you want to be able to sleep at night.
Yeah. Okay, I want to do a little speed round, and I want to ask you some things that I find rather interesting. And that is, Sharon, if you had the opportunity to write just one sentence on a billboard for people to read, what would you write on that billboard?
Have you added value to someone's life today?
And why do you think that's so important?
What my dad asked me every single night growing up. He's been gone 16 years. I still ask myself that. Have I added value to someone's life today? And wouldn't the world be a better place if we all focused on adding value to other people's lives?
Oh, I sure as heck think so, Sharon. And what, in your experience, because this is something I didn't understand for so long, I was listening to Earl Nightingale, and this is something that he talks about a lot, value. What is the correlation in your mind between value and your income?
Well, if you focus on adding value, the income will come. All right. But the value needs to come first. Solving problems, serving needs. That's how you create success.
Does that look like, when you say giving value first, are you saying it has to be free value, or is it something you could still charge for? What does that look like?
Well, no, I mean, that's getting too granular. I think depending on what your business is, obviously I have a lot of free content that I give away, but my programs and stuff are charged for, and I give value in everything that I do. I give value with my free content. I give value with my mentoring clients, which are very high dollar items. And so the issue is making sure you're always providing value.
And how do you're an expert, and one of the things that I've struggled with is selling a high ticket offer or something that's multiple thousands of dollars. And I look at someone like you, Sharon, and I say, yeah, must be nice for Sharon. She could charge what she charges because she's Sharon. But for the average person who is developing into becoming their own version of a Sharon one day, is it still possible to have a high ticket offer? Or do we have to scale it down because we're not at Sharon's quote unquote level of expertise yet?
Anything is possible. The issue is creating the customer journey that provides them and nurtures them along the way to get them to that level, and to make sure that your high ticket value, that your high ticket offer over delivers.
Does that mean that the value outweighs, or the value that they receive is greater than the price that they or that's how they perceive it, at least?
That's how they perceive it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next question I have.
I'm going to add one other thing. I always say, don't discount what you do, bonus up.
What do you mean?
Instead of discounting, I'm going to give you 50% off. Instead of discounting, bonus up. So if you buy this program, you get this one for free. Okay.
Why do you say don't discount? What's the mentality behind that? Because
it means that you don't think it's worth what you're charging.
Ooh, that's deep. All right, Sharon. If you were to give advice to a young entrepreneur who was just coming up and they were thinking of skills that they want to develop, what are some of the foundational skills that every entrepreneur should focus on honing?
Well, obviously understanding the basics and elements of building a business, and knowing that you can't do it on your own. Make sure you have people on your team that are strong where you are weak. Have the right entity so that you're not putting your personal assets at risk. I have an entire course online called The Essential Components of a Successful Business. That's what you need to do.
An entity. No one thinks about that. At least I didn't think about that at first, Sharon. But okay. Sharon, very last question that I have for you here is, You've built an amazing life. So many people are learning from you all over the world. And as you look at the life that you've built, when you look back one day and you say, wow, this is the life I've built, what is the legacy that you hope to leave behind, and ultimately the contribution that you hope to have made on those that you came in contact with?
Well, I do a business retreat. We have a ranch here in Arizona, cherrycreeklodge.com, and we do business retreats there 2 or 3 times a year. And last year we had a group and I said, dream up what your magazine cover will say about you, your legacy. And my team presented me with one that said, my legacy is creating legacies. And I think that's been, I love that, because it is my success is felt and enjoyed through the success of others who have found wisdom and taken action from my teachings.
So is that what makes you the happiest in the world?
Mhm.
Oh, I can see it, Sharon. This is
Other than my grandchildren. So
who doesn't love grandma? I mean, there's just something special about grandma. Well, Sharon, thank you so much. And I've learned so much from you here. It's absolutely incredible. And you're creating those legacies each and every day. And I know you know that, but some affirmation never hurts. So Sharon, I deeply thank you. And thanks for being so generous with your time. There are so many things that you've mentioned in here that people can get from you. But Sharon, is there anything that in specific that if somebody leaves here with one resource that they can't miss out on? What comes to the top of your mind?
Get the personal success equation. Go to personalsuccessequation.com and then reach out to me, info@sharonlechter.com. My website is sharonlechter.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, so please connect with me. But take action. That's the biggest thing. Take action.
Oh, Sharon, thank you so much. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. Thank you.